Incremental greetings. Let's continue the Supermemo Course, the Pleasurable expansion. Now it's time for the image registry that, as we will see, they have a name. What is called image registry members have a name, and why you should care about naming this, or what will be the consequences if you don't.
On desktop.
So now we're in a place that Fowl is going to import an image through the control queue. So from his computer, directly through the image component. And it will be saved on the image registry as a consequence.
Actually on desktop. Wozniak.
Do you see, in this case is Wozniak, it's still something. But most of the images, look at the name. It's gibberish. It's just machining a string of numbers. That doesn't help. Untitled, and so on.
Yeah.
And then Supermemo asks, unique name. Spoiler alert, you can have the same name. If it happens that this name already exists in your registry, Supermemo will append one random character to make it unique. Why? Because it's acting like a database that you can use to reuse those images. You will be tempted to just, I want just click OK and move on. I also do it, by the way. This is the case if you are really sure that I'm not going to reuse this image. I know it's one case only, and that's it. Feel free. But then, if I want to search, hey, where was the image of the Wozniak face? I won't be able to look at that.
Okay, we're gonna add this picture. Again, I clicked on the image and did Control Q. Simple. Very simple, nothing wrong. Give it a unique name. Always change the name of your picture because later I will show you how to search stuff.
Exactly. It's because the name you put today is something that you will filter in the future, your features self, through search. So first, you don't have to be descriptive of what the image is about. You also want to include some other strings so they can be filtered on the search. Before he does this, what I will say is Piotr Wozniak face portrait, stuff like that. Why? Because that I want just Piotr Wozniak, I can do it by the name. That I want, let me actually do it.
From picture or how to just change your picture and look at your picture registry. So we say Wozniak. And now
for me, Wozniak, that's not enough. First, there is more than one Wozniak already in my collection, not just Piotr. And then from Piotr, I may have different images. Let me actually check that, it's been a while. First, let's go to the image registry. So in the main menu, search, images. Okay, let me make this bigger. Now I can search Wozniak. Okay, in this case, it's just itself. This is a backup, could be because, okay, so those are the elements, well, flashcards that are using his face. So what it will be today, remember, I can now rename it. I can rename from the registry, but if I am in if now I am in a flashcard, I can also do it on the spot. Remember, length and rename or Alt-R. This will need to make the component selected. If you want a mouseless approach, you will need to click Ctrl-T. Depends on the order, by the way. If the first is the text, you will need to do Ctrl-T more times. And now Alt-R. Here you go. And I will do Piotr Wozniak portrait, and in this case, face, as redundancy. And I add this icon, the sharp, because it's my convention. And in this case, it's acting me because I know that this particular image is the one from Wired article. Something optional will be the year. That's the case for people that I have biographies and stuff like that. Let's say Einstein. I may have images at different stages, or Alan Turing, different stages of his life. So in adulthood, in not so adulthood, as a teenager or as a kid. So I want to make this distinction. you can put that. Or perhaps you just want straight the year to know that. It may sound like it's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, long term is when is the best option. So if I go to the registry again and I do portrait, look at that. Those are all the portraits I have. Real people, could be characters, could be in this case just a chicken, but it's a portrait. That's why I also have the animal. In this case, I don't care about who the person is. It's about the facial expression that is contempt. That's why I use facial expression. Here, it's just a random, not a random, an arbitrary selection. I think she is called Jenny, something like that, from one Korean music band. But I use it because in the context that I came across that, I actually forgot, but it made sense back then. But it's an association because if I think of cute girl, especially in Korean standards, is what you will want. It is like very different of the standards on the country I live. That's why I use it as a memory peg. So it's an example that, hey, doesn't have to be Genie, because I don't care about her, in the sense that I won't be learning or putting content about her in my collection. So I don't need to know it's her. I don't even know exactly how it's spelled, her name. But you get the point, right? In this case, I have a false positive because it's emotional state, different portraits of a woman presenting different emotions. I even have, by the way, here I have a typo. That's in the case that you want to minimize typos, because in Supermemo, it's exactly how it is spelled. It will be filtered out. Then, that's a good example that, hey, I didn't want that exactly. I want real portraits. What I could do is adding my convention, that is a sharp. And now I have 63. And here you have one example. It's the same person, Ivan Ilek, and with glasses. Because for me, it is like different enough, because I have never seen that person. I only have the exposure of those two pictures from Wikipedia. And because then I make it my own. So it's not just how the image is. I'm describing the image. So this will be true for everyone. This is a portrait of this person, and in this case, it's black and white. It's for another person. Do you see that this is black and white, but I didn't specify that? Because at that time, I didn't have this convention. But then it's because of my usage, is when I choose this particular picture, not the other one, it's because of the theme of the content of the topics goes in certain direction. It's more reflective. It's very hard to put in perspective. It's very abstract. So I use the images as this concept that is unschooling because of this author, blah, 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 blah. So instead of all of that, I encapsulate this in this image in particular. But I'm attributing these specifics to this image. This only makes sense to me. And this would be the same for other people. This is just another example. I don't care about who is that. I don't even know who is that. But it's because it's a Parkinsonian mask face. It's about a condition. In this case, it's a portrait. So long story short, by the way, this is just one tiny example. I have a lot more conventions. For instance, if it's an illustration, if it's a photo, if it's a piece of art or a painting. In this case, if I care about, for instance, this is meant for clothing. In this case, I don't care about, I think it's from a picture, from a painting. But in this case, my purpose is not to know this painting in particular. It's the sash waist thing. That's why I use my convention. You can do the convention you want. But the end goal is always the same. The time you invest today of setting a proper title, it's time you will save tomorrow searching again for that image, or when you have different candidates. If you don't, it will be hard to reuse and all of that. And remember, one of the perks that has kind of escaped the scope of this video, but to emphasize that there are more pros that I'm not mentioning because are advanced, that if I right click and I go to links and registry member, I can see the elements that are reusing this. I can open that in the browser and do a outside review, go neural, and all of that. So I have this relationship, this semantic relationship, that all of those here are about Piotr Wozniak. If I don't do a text search, I do an image search, I have this semantic relationship regardless. This is gold, but it's very advanced, no worries. Once you have used Supermemo for a long while, you have a rich collection with many images, and every image is being reused, is when you will see the full power of this option. And you will want to know, and you will say, shit, I didn't spend time properly naming the files, the images, and now I regret. Tell me if this happens. For now, this is all you need to know. See you in the next video.